Hi everybody, I'm Arjun Gandhi and I'm a senior at St. Francis High School, and I'm launching this video series with the intent to promote sound mental health practices among teens to help everybody navigate through challenging times. I'm glad to be able to chat today with Dr. Mehta, who is a licensed clinical psychologist and the founder of a group practice called Severa Psychological Services based in Oakland, California.
Thank you, Arjun, for having me here. I'm super excited to have this conversation with you.
Thanks, Dr. Mehta, for taking the time to chat with me. As we're all aware, the COVID-19 shelter in place has made mental health ever more pertinent. Let's talk about some of the challenges that teens are facing today. Currently, the public media content is dominated by COVID-related news and data, which is constantly streamed, and it can get overwhelming at times. How do you think teens should approach this nonstop barrage of information and data so as not to get affected by it?
Yeah, that's $1 million question, right? How do we deal with so much social media exposure during shelter in place? So first of all, I think it's really important to understand why we get hooked on to news so easily, especially news about terrible things that are happening around us. And it's really because our brains are designed in a way to look out for danger or threats. So words like, you see all these sensational news headlines that have, words like danger or war or pandemic. So of course, when we see these kind of news headlines, our brain kind of is like a magnet for attracting, for looking out for these kind of threats. So I think the first thing is to know why we get hooked onto such news. And that's, it's because of, again, the way our brain is designed. And then the second thing is, a barrage of too much information, especially when we're not in any kind of immediate danger, can actually have a negative impact on our mood and overall well-being. Especially if people are more prone to, say, anxiety and depression, they can experience even more negative impact on their moods. So I have a couple of strategies, I suppose, that we can, that I can suggest in terms of coping with this barrage of information. So it's not so much, I guess it's a little bit of two things. It's about, I guess, changing how much we consume and also what kind of information we consume. So these days we have all these tools on our phones where we can turn off what they call push notifications.
Yeah.
So it's good not to constantly get notified about all the news or sometimes even too many text messages. I know on WhatsApp people tend to send all kinds of sensational stuff. Can be really helpful, but it can also be really overwhelming. So just maybe simple things like turning off push notifications. It's also really important, I think, to set aside time about when you want to consume information, because and I know it's easier said than done, but being more intentional about, okay, I'm consuming news at, say, 7 p.m. or, maybe at 10 a.m. or whatever it is. It's like, okay, I'm going to dedicate half an hour to just seeing what's out there. One strategy that I know some of my clients actually love, Arjun, is assigning different family members as kind of the news bearer of the day. So say if you have a sibling, you say, today you tell me whatever we need to know as a family, and then tomorrow you be the news bearer and you do your research and let the family know what the ongoings are. So some people like doing kind of creative things with how they set aside structured time for consuming news. I think the other thing is, just making sure we don't consume news, say, right before bedtime or right when we wake up. Because again, that can be the way we end our day and the way we start our day. If we were starting it or ending it with that terrible news, it can really have an impact on not just our mood, but sleep as well.
Yeah.
So of course, it does take a lot of effort to stay disciplined, but I think it's important to be more intentional about our consumption of news rather than just, it's like, let's control our technology, not the other way around, because right now it seems like a lot of people are allowing technology to control ourselves. So those are a few tools or tips that I can share. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta.